It's all about the game of do you want to be the project of the week
Or do you
the
want...
team of the year?
Hey, I like that. I like that. The Beef Jensen quote of the day. Look at that.
Beef Jensen
I've been
bringing in
cooking
the
that one for the
profundity here.
past like 10 minutes.
He's just been...
Just there's the like the dots on the Microsoft startup thing.
letting it cook.
Oh, I got one for you.
I was just buffering, waiting for my moment.
We'll use it. We'll use that for the intro and the outro. So we'll make it
Double.
Yes!
Hey everybody, it's me, Bryn from MarketSquare.io, and I'm here today with the illustrious, the stupendous, the absolutely unmatchable Trevor, aka Beef Jensen, and Levi, aka Mr. Big Hat of, let me see if I'm actually getting this right, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Duhverse. Welcome, guys.
Clap for
No,
ourselves.
you got that correct. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good.
You can clap for
White
yourselves.
people at
it's
the end
all
of the
right.
theater.
Just clapping on the plane, that kind of stuff. That's what we're all
That's
about.
right.
Absolutely. All right, so you two guys, let's get straight to it. I'm hope you're not too cold there in South Dakota. I believe that's where you're from.
Yeah, we just got our
Not
first
too bad.
snow overnight, so it's always fun.
No.
Yeah, it's a bit rainy down here, so it's pretty warm. So I think it's southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere vibes. It's par for the
Oh
course.
yeah,
I
rub
guess.
it in. Keep rubbing
Okay.
it in,
Yeah, well, I live near the beach. What can I say? It's. You can come visit sometime. You can sleep on my couch.
Oh, fantastic. We'll have to take you up on that. No
Ah,
take backs.
Okay. None of that. All right. Let's get to it, boys. So, introductions. I want you guys to tell me a little bit about yourselves and your roles and how you actually managed to get into the crazy world of NFTs.
Yeah, so it all started with me. I kind of went down the big rabbit hole in December of last year when I made my first investment in Bitcoin and I got into researching cryptocurrencies. And after that, it's just one big drop down to the bottom, basically. Because after that, I got into Ethereum, and I was looking at altcoins, and then I came back to Ethereum when I was looking at NFTs. And I was kind of part of the group, I would say, that jumped in with the rise of the Bored Ape Yacht Club back in like May or June is when I really started looking into everything. And at first I saw Lambdas as a a software development project. So I am an honors student, an honors like computer science student. And a big thing in this field is you need to have software development experience to have a good like resume, have a good chance of getting like a engineer job, right? So I saw that my primary goal was, if anything, it was a great project to learn a lot of different types of software development, because in making an NFT project, there's a lot of it. And Trevor can back me up there too. Like, it's not just the Solidity blockchain stuff, right? It's also the React stuff, right? The Web3 component on a website. It's also the Python component in the generator, JavaScript for the website, learning about APIs. And you could, I don't have it written down, but I could go through and make a list and throw that on a resume, and it would probably look great, honestly. I think I would honestly recommend it for like anybody getting into software development to try and make an NFT project. And they don't have to necessarily like launch it on the Ethereum net, but like everything involved in getting it one big project, there's a lot to it. So I kind of took the spotlight there. Trevor, why don't you go ahead and follow me up there?
No, I don't have anything else to say. It was definitely a new experience, to say the least. Prior to this project, I had some experience. Boot camps. I went through a Python boot camp on Free Code Camp, JavaScript. So as soon as Levi brought this idea to me in, I want to say late July,
We were talking about it in early July, though. the 4th.
We were okay. Yeah, we were discussing early July, started development in late July, but over that time it was a rush to find the resources that we could use to help our knowledge on said topics, and then use that knowledge to put the pen to paper.
Put all the pieces together. Yeah, that's
a
big part of it. When you're hopping into, you're like, okay, we got this component and this component and this component. How do we fit it all together to make one project? Was one of the hard parts, getting all the pieces together for sure. And
another hard part was time management.
Yeah, we both wanted to get into blockchain development since we started investing in Ethereum I started investing in Ethereum too in December, and I got Trevor to start investing in the Bitcoin, Ethereum around the same time, and we were both kind of already from the mindset we love this stuff. We think the decentralized nature of it all is going to be playing a vital part in the direction that we're going as a society. So we wanted to get involved and build, not just be like the people that are speculating.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys wanted to get personally involved. Sorry if I'm cutting you off there.
No,
Trevor.
you go right ahead.
Not at all. It's all right. But so you guys wanted to get involved directly. You kind of were like, okay, great. This is getting into crypto, being like, okay, Ethereum, and then you start to really understand the philosophy behind it and what it's all about. And then you're like, wow, there's like a whole community here, and there's like so much more you can do. And then there's ways to apply so many of your skill sets all in one. And like you said, there's this sort of integration of skills and capacities and that kind of stuff. And it sounds like it's been a great experience for you guys, I'm assuming, just because you've had to develop and work with those and find ways to make those puzzle pieces fit. So that's kind of what I'm getting from it. So and that's the thing, is like a lot of people will look at NFT projects and they'll go, oh, it's just JPEGs, it's just this, and it's like an artist and doodles or whatever it might be. But it's like, no, there's actually a whole lot of coding. There's a lot of mathematics behind this as well. It's not just somebody drawing stuff. So I think people are quick to dismiss this technology and that kind of stuff. And we are sort of in the early phases with this. That's the amazing thing. A lot of these projects are still, in the infancy. So it's just really great to hear from creators like you guys, just how far you've come already in such a short space of time. Because I mean, it sounds like you guys have been in this for like a couple of months at best.
Oh,
coming up on a year.
Yeah, it hasn't been very long. The
Crazy.
growth, like a lot of things in crypto, has been exponential for us, and it's been a fun ride, to say the least.
It's been a fun, very, very busy ride.
Yeah.
Time management is now probably something on my resume now. It's nuts.
Yeah, that don't worry. It's I think if you're in crypto, and I can only imagine if you're really deep into NFTs, that it's like sleep becomes a secondary sort of consideration, I imagine.
Oh yeah, that's what it feels like most days. Oh god. And then on top of full-time commitments, or on top of all this project development, I'd like to add that we both have been juggling these full-time commitments on top of that as well. So in that July period, Levi was in the process of finishing his full-time job to go back to school while I'm still going through my full-time job. So that's, I want to say give or take 5 hours allocated per day that we're actually able to work on this stuff. And those 5 hours are nose to the grindstone. It's, our whole vision is just Lambdas.
That's how, that I remember that at the end of July, it was a lot like, it was literally wake up, lambs, go to bed. And then I would have these days where I wasn't working, and that's what it was like. And especially we were trying to set up a date for launch, and we were trying to estimate it properly, which luckily we did. But even the day before launch, we were nose to the grindstone, making sure everything was ready, everything was right, and it was it was crazy.
It paid off though.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I should.
Clear. I mean, there's no.
I don't think I ever said this, but if you couldn't tell, we're brothers. So Couldn't tell from the faces.
I did assume that. And I didn't want to put my foot in it, as it were, and just say, "Oh, you guys are obviously related." I was like, "Okay, well, you're both from South Dakota, but yeah, okay." So you guys are actually. Who's the older brother? Of course.
Yep.
Of course.
I'm the younger brother that got trailed along. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm an older brother myself, so I know the energy pretty well. All right, so obviously I'm sure that many people have noticed this. I picked up on it, but I love the whole Greek alphabet thing with lambdas. Is there any story behind that, or is it just like a clever play on words that you guys decided to use for your project? Because it is pretty cool.
So this is a funny story because right when I had the idea of wanting to try to do an NFT collection, our very first iteration of the idea was, so Roxilla, we know her very well. She's a very good friend of ours. We've known her for a couple years. If you take a look at her portfolio, she really likes to draw, like, cartoon girls is her thing. Like, she's really into, like, the anime style. And initially, I was thinking, well, maybe let's play off that. Let's do the anime girls. Let's roll with it. And then I got this idea, and unfortunately, this does kind of sound kind of bad, but the trend was like the cute cartoon animals, and I thought that'd have more universal appeal than like anime girls, because not everybody wants to rock an anime girl as a profile picture, but like cute stylistic lambs, like anybody can rock one of those, you know what I mean? So it was kind of, I went for the more universal appeal approach, and it wasn't necessarily lambs right away either. I remember I was at work and I was trying to think of cool names, and I'm kind of a nerd, right? I like the Greek letters, and I like the Alpha, Omega, Lambda, those types. And I just remember thinking, like, lambs is in Lambda. We could utilize this as like a clever name. And then from there, I just kind of took it by the horns and ran with it, right? Like, we've got like our tier system is based off the Greek letters, and we just kept trying. We kept trying to find things that fit around our theme, like the Andromeda is Greek and fits great. We'll get to that a little later too. What else is Greek? I know everything we've basically done so far is we found a clever way of slipping some Greek in there. So like Elysium, like what we call like our exclusive section, our server, the Fortunate Isles Guild, our jazz club. That's like another name for Elysium. It's
the Hesperides Station is also.
Yep, Hesperides Station, the place where like the Andromedas live in our lore, is also Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Well. Okay, so there's like a whole big thing there. It sort of just came across as, you see, when I saw lambdas, I just thought of like Half-Life because of the lambda complex.
That's one of my.
That's where it came from.
That's one of my favorite
favorite
games of all time.
In
yeah.
the desert.
Yep.
I must have played it about 100 times.
It's great. It's beautiful.
At least
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So I'm in. This is proof, ladies and gentlemen, that we are in the company of people with exceptional taste. Is the love
cultured?
Yeah, I mean,
culture.
I think it was like a couple months. Levi came up with this idea. It was a couple months after we both beat Half-Life Alyx, or am I a year off?
You're a year off.
Am I?
Yeah,
everything's going so fast. It feels.
Ooh. Yeah, no, we were like early adopters to the whole VR stuff too, right? We had a Valve Index. We played Half-Life Alyx on release, and that was awesome. But that's kind of off topic, but.
That's not off topic. Why is it off topic?
Let's explore that further. What do you guys think of it?
I'm the one who mentioned Half-Life, and I'm like Lambda, and like you see, it's like it all connects together somehow. It all does.
Yeah, it turns out. So it just turns out that we're like undercover workers for Valve.
You guys play Half-Life?
Exposed us.
Okay, so when Half-Life 3?
Yeah, when Half-Life 3 next week.
When Half-Life,
dude,
next week.
They're just gonna wait for blockchain
next week, and if it's not next week, ask me again next week, and I'll have the same answer for you.
Oof. All right. Okay, so at least we know what the law is all about. It's not just a clever play on words, or at least it's evolved from something like that into a whole on like project with all of the Greek law behind it and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. Now, obviously, you mentioned Rox, and you talked about how she does anime girls and that sort of thing. But obviously now we've got these. I love the art style with lambdas. I think it's great. I think the facial expressions are some of my favorite parts, and obviously, I told you guys already. I love hot dog lamb. I just was like, oh, is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen? It's adorable, a little lamb in a hot dog suit. That's just wow. That's amazing. So, what exactly did inspire the idea of NFT lambs as such?
It kind of goes back to the my idea of like the pun that I found there, and we just kind of like went off of that. I guess it wasn't set in stone until we saw Ramona's Roxilla Ramona. Ramona's not her real name either, but it's one. She's got a lot of names that we call her.
Yeah.
Ramona Roxilla.
Yeah. So she drew a lamb, and it was actually like the first iteration. We were like, yeah, that's good. Let's go with it. Because before she drew that, we weren't set on it yet. It was just an idea of like drawing, like, okay, Ramona, try and draw a cute cartoon animal. Cartoony is kind of your style. Let's see what you can come up with, right? And I'm pretty sure it was like the first iteration, and then we made some couple minor adjustments, like with the ears and stuff, and it turned out like great. We were like, let's run with this.
I bet you I could probably get you a prototype.
Yeah, don't worry about
Prototype.
it for now. We'll send it to him later.
No.
Yeah, you can totally send me stuff, guys. It's 100% fine. So like we'll take care of that and all that. Okay, so we've already talked. We know that, or I know that it's not just lambdas. Obviously, that's kind of your first collection. This is all part of the Duhverse, which is also called like universe, diverse. I don't know, play on words again. It's cool. So you already mentioned Andromedas. Like, okay, so Andromeda from Greek mythology. I think she was a queen.
So we did want to do another collection, and we were talking about this before launch even, like what are we going to do for our next collection. And what we really wanted to do most of all was just let Ramona go buck wild and just create some awesome stuff that she really likes to draw, stuff that she's passionate about. And really there's only one answer to that question, and it goes back to the anime girls that she really likes to draw. So Andromeda's is our kind of idea for that, and it's the furthest item in our roadmap for a reason, because we don't want it to be just another PFP drop, right? We've got some ideas turning around. One of them involves like a comic book sort of format. We're a ways off, but the thing is with NFTs, right, is you're allowed to innovate as much as your imagination allows you, right? So we have a lot of time. We've given ourselves a lot of time for that one to make sure that we're able to do something awesome. Like, we already know for a fact the art is going to be like out of this world. The tech side of things is going to be up to us to really innovate. Okay,
so also Lambdas is pretty much the very first project to partner with Nifty Village. That's MarketSquare's very own NFT project with our alpacas and all that. So how do you and your community feel about this development? Has there been any feedback on that? How do you guys feel?
I mean, no negative connotations. Everybody's been pretty psyched about it, you know what I mean? And it fits in perfect with what our ultimate goal, our grand vision is going to be like. Because I think as an avatar project, that interoperability, I believe is the word for it, being able to use our lambs and Andromedas, and eventually when we do it, like the evolved lambs, like no name yet, but have those avatars be able to star in other places is exactly what we want to see. So I'll just reiterate, it fits in perfect with like our vision, longer term vision.
Yeah, because I think a lot of it comes down to with NFT projects is the community and the collaboration, and obviously we are very much about growing the community and making things work. And I think just not having any ideas that we're competing with one another or that we're trying to steal this or that. It's like we can all work together and we can all achieve something greater if we commit our capacities in that regard. And I think that's what I really love about crypto and NFT projects, is that you just see such a huge amount of talent coming together, barriers coming down, people just being like, it's the most camaraderie and participation and genuine interest I've seen in potentially my entire life. I don't know. But that's pretty much what we're about, and it seems like you guys are very much on the same page as us, and that's obviously why we chose you we approached you first about becoming part of Nifty Village, and I'm sure that the lamb we'll find out about that lamb, because there's the vote that's going on, I think
Relatively soon.
Actually, very soon, yes. So, except obviously when this all comes out, everyone will have already done it. But anyway,
yeah, that's awesome.
So that's great. Yeah,
and that's exactly the vibe that we want to foster. We've already kind of got the beginnings of it in our server, in our community, but as we go forward, that's sort of I think this is one of your later questions too, like long-term vision. The type of environment that we want to foster in our community is going to be like a growth-orientated one. And that'll come down to us, providing value in the way of like learning resources, which we've got a lot of cool ideas about doing. But I'll save it for when we get to that question.
So I have a feeling the Duhverse. Sorry, am I getting that right? The Duhverse.
Yeah, that works. It's funny because it's actually like we discovered this after we decided to name it this. It's kind of like a shorter version of Metaverse. Duhverse.
Yeah. Duhverse. Okay, Metaverse, Metaverse. Okay, that helps a lot. All right. So in terms of obviously we've got lambdas, we've got Andromedas. I have a feeling that that won't necessarily be the last collection. It sounds like you guys you mentioned the evolved lambs. Is this going to expand into like an entire metaverse for the Duhverse? Because I mean that's obviously what you just said, like the Metaverse. So I assume that's what the big plan is.
It depends on your definition of metaverse. Do you mean like us making our own game, or what are you insinuating?
Well, I mean,
expanding,
is that part of the deal? Is it going to be just a range of NFT collections? Is it going to be a game? Is it going to be all of those things? Is there going to be DeFi protocols involved? What's the vision? What are you guys hoping to? Where do you want to push the Duhverse?
Yeah. I mean that's actually the kind of why I called it, or we came up with the umbrella term, the Duhverse, because it allows us, like an umbrella, it gives us all this room to explore different avenues, and the DeFi protocols and the DAO stuff. We're actually looking into that right now too, but we're a little bit cautious there just because there's a lot of legalities involved with those departments. So we do have to be a little cautious in those avenues. But as far as like different NFT collections, 100%, yeah. The Andromedas, we've already kind of spoke about that, but after that, I've kind of hinted at this. Lambs are baby sheep, right? And a lot of collections start off with an adult version of their animal and then have a breeding mechanic to make babies. For us, I feel like it almost makes more sense to go the other way, because NFTs are so young that right now we're like the NFT space itself is a lot like our lambs. And as we proceed and as we mature, we can make these. I don't want to call them like sheep does or something stupid. You know what I mean? We have to come up with something clever there. But like golden rams or whatever, we can have this sort of cool gamification involved where we let people graduate or evolve their lamb into a golden ram or golden ewe or whatever we come up with. And that would be a cool way of kind of showing off like an NFT project's evolution that also mirrors the entire space as it matures as well. It's kind of like a nice symbolic reflection.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
As far as like the rest of the I completely forgot about this. As far as like for right now, like on our roadmap, I consider like the Nifty Village collaboration one part of the big equation of expanding out to other, at like expanding like our metaverse, right? And then the other part that's on our roadmap actually is the voxel lamps that I'm pretty excited about. we have a game studio that we're talking about that has like 7 years of voxel like experience, and they make really awesome voxel art. And that would be like another avenue that we could go down, making these voxel avatars that we could that would be NFTs as well, that would let people use these NFT avatars as their avatars in any voxel metaverse game. So that's what we've got right now. I'm sure that there will be more as we, keep building from here too. But I mean, it's pretty sweet to know that just from this point, we have this much, already lined up and ready or planned and being built out.
Yeah, so a lot of developments already coming to fruition, as it were, and at least you've kind of got your big vision and some of the stepping stones, I guess, in place. So that's all great news. I think just having a plan is a big deal, and just having some idea of where you want to go next. And I guess there's a lot of things that you have to try and consider, because it's not just like I think it just keeps like going out from the epicenter, just like expanding like this. So it's not like you're just going in one direction. It's like you're kind of having to explore various avenues all at once. So it's extremely time consuming.
And I think that as a project in this space is the most, how do I say this? Probably one of the most important things you can do long term, just because of how young everything is and how much everything changes, right? If you lock yourself in too early, you're prone to pigeonholing yourself, cornering yourself somewhere, and then you're kind of cutting off your growth. So with the Duhverse is my kind of solution to avoid that outcome.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And Trevor, what do you have to say about that with the way things are going with the Duhverse? Are you happy with how everything's rolled out? Do you like the vision?
Yeah, I'm completely happy with the vision so far. It's kind of perfectly encapsulates our entrance into the NFT space as well. We came in sort of obviously not knowing anything, that's just how everyone seems to learn stuff, knowledge starts at zero and they start gaining the resources, looking at resources. And we just, a big part of our vision is to ease that process. We want to act as this outlet, this hub for people to join our community, see what we're doing with as much user intuitive, beginner friendly sort of information, so people can look at this project and be like, okay, this is what NFTs are, and the idea is not misconstrued by media saying, oh, they're just JPEGs, $1 million JPEGs, total scam for money laundering, this hooey that no one wants to elaborate on. We want to be that outlet that further elaborates the fact that we aren't just this project. We aren't this space that pushes that agenda. We're this space that that believes in the future of Web3, that believes in this future of NFTs and the Duhverse, even. And we want to push that agenda as hard as possible.
And we'll touch more on this once we get. I see you got a question later on too about the end goal, big vision. I'll tell you a little bit about what I call the big hat thesis.
Yeah, I suppose I kind of touched in on that.
Yeah,
but whatever.
That's all right. That's okay. No worries about that. So it's come to that time because Ray put me up to this, and he put this one forward. So I absolutely 100% have to ask: big hat lambs or fishing cap lambs?
Hold on.
Well, no, isn't this up to you, Bryn? You got to say which one you're a fan of.
I do, but you guys have to like tell me what you guys are into. Which one? I'm guessing. So it's obviously clear that beef is the fishing cap. Ooh, cat, lambs, and big hat. Of course, Levi is Mr. Big Hat. So the question is, it's true. It's actually a question for myself. That's what I have to. That's actually it's like a little bit of like reverso type bizarro stuff there. I guess if I had to be honest, it's big hats.
God
And that's the end of it. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. It's been a wonderful time here with the Duhverse. Trevor has left the building.
And he's back.
And he's back. He's like,
All right.
wait. I'm not done with you guys yet.
I calmed down a little bit. I had myself a
Just walk
I
it
sat
off
down,
there. Just walk it off.
had a glass of milk, thought to myself, the world just isn't ready. We're still underneath this big hat oppression phase, and we're ready to get out of there.
All right, so you're the resistance, as it were, the fishing cap lamb
I'm the
resistance
leader of the
against
resistance.
against the hegemony of big hats.
This anarchy.
So, inevitably, you guys are into NFTs, obviously. So I have to ask you about NFT projects or collections that you may like in particular, that you really admire, that inspired you guys. Which ones are you into? Like, which ones have you really found interesting, and which ones do you think are doing wonders for the NFT space?
Yeah, and my answer isn't going to be especially different from what the mainstream,
That's okay.
as far as mainstream NFT people think, because I do agree on a lot of these points that people have been bringing up. So a couple of my favorite communities that I think have really pushed the envelope forward in developing the space and what they do. I'll say this: my first NFT that I bought was actually a Cool Cat for 0.6 ETH back in July. My best play.
Nice.
And I think what they're best at is like their presentation, because everything is so nice and uniform and in that inclined style, and the community they've built is so, like, they really like their family friendliness, and the uniformity, I think, brings everybody together. And the style, obviously, the style and the art is another one of their strong points. Like, everybody, even if they weren't popular, it's just such a good, profile picture. And that was actually a major, like, inspiration for us when we created Lambs. Like, let's make something cute. Let's make something that people want to rock as their avatar. Another project that I really like is CyberKongz.
Oh yeah.
So what they're really good at, I think, is the people just like to say utility and leave it at that, because they did start the whole NFT sort of DeFi combining sort of idea, which a lot of projects are trying to copy now. So that was obviously very innovative and awesome. Like, it worked out perfect for them. And the other thing that they have done really, really well is create. They've basically used their Kongs as sort of membership tokens at the same time. So if you have, like, when you go into their server, you just have access to the basic stuff, and they have like tiers to it, which is really awesome, and it creates like long-term like demand, because like people that want in on this community, they have to get the membership token to join the club, so to speak. And Wall Street Kongs has garnered quite the reputation for themselves in like NFT alpha and stuff. And in order to get to see Wall Street Kongs, you have to own a baby Kong.
Ooh.
And then they tier it like this, right? So I think they have their voxel models at the bottom. Like, if you have Kongs VX, you get their verified lounge, which chat with other verified Kongs, but you don't really get a whole lot else besides like maybe some exclusive giveaways. If you have a baby Kong, you get access to the next tier, which is Wall Street Kongs, which is what is probably the most coveted part about it. And if you have a Genesis Kong, it's the next membership tier up, where you get access to what they call the Genesis Hall, and you get, you have a Genesis Kong that generates you that banana with that sweet passive income too. So that's, I think, the two things that they really excel at is the utility that they've managed to create with the innovation that they proceeded with, and the membership tiers that they have set up that kind of blends well with their ecosystem, with their with what they've built. And their community, if you go into both communities, you'll see that they both operate differently, but with different areas of like focus, of passion, and it's interesting to see. And I'm gonna have to look at my Discord list here too. There's a couple other projects that have some real highlights that I like Dogepound has a cool launchpad mechanic, a part of theirs. Boring Bananas was one of the first NFT communities that I joined, and they fostered developer presence in their server, something that we're gonna be pushing a little harder in ours as well. They had open source. They were the first and only NFT project that open sourced their code, and they had like a developer channel to help people learn a lot of this stuff. And this is where Trevor and I spent our early days. Like we were in here, ears to the ground, picking up on this developer knowledge. So that's awesome. Moonwalkers has a lot of cool musical integration. And then there are a couple other servers that do the membership stuff really well. ETH Aliens does like a casino like shop in their server, so like you can earn like star token and you can spend it in their in-server like casino to get actual NFTs from a Discord currency. So playing a Discord game gets you like the Discord currency, which you can use to get NFTs in like a shop. So that's a cool mechanic as well.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah, and this just goes to show, right? Like there's so many ways you can go about the NFTs. Like there's so many innovations that are left to be explored.
Yeah, I think it's as far as your imagination goes, really, and just what you can think of. And that's the nature of innovation, is that there's just so many avenues to explore, and it's really cool to see how different projects approach the whole thing, and what functionality and utility they bring to the audiences. And it's just really exciting to learn about this as well, just from my side as well. Trevor, you've got to tell me a couple of your picks as well.
So I am a big fan of mostly art and tech, and not necessarily. I guess community isn't the biggest thing when I look for NFTs, just because I'm so invested in our own community that I can't really split off from that part. But some of my favorite ones are definitely Cool Cats, Cyberkongs, Boring Bananas. I mean, without those three,
those are
where would we?
Those are
be,
kind of our
like.
top three picks, I think, both of us.
And then I also have to give a nice shout out to like the Crazy Crow Chess Club. Those guys are the dudes, definitely.
Yep.
I mean, just those two. I know Levi hasn't said anything about yet, but the Crazy Crow Chess Club released around the same time as we did, and they just had insane tech. Just something that it'd be hard not to be jealous over, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And the dudes, I don't know if you've personally seen any of their stuff, but the entire collection was made by one guy. It's 500 items, and they're completely
on-chain and animated.
On-chain,
yeah.
Yep. On-chain animated, generated
created all of it was created by computer. It's crazy.
Yep. It's all SVG generation on-chain. It's nuts, and you can go on any picture and play around with it, move your mouse around, and like the eyes will follow it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee, that's like supercharged stuff there. Incredible.
And I suppose we should probably bring up the non-fungible heroes. That's Boring Bananas secondary project. I don't know if you mentioned them at all, Levi.
Yeah, it's when we talk about the Boring Bananas company server, they have the non-fungible heroes like integrated within the same server. But
yep. Yeah. And if we're talking about first NFTs, Levi started out with a Cool Cat, which is definitely cool. I bought a bored banana. I bought this NFT because I saw banana and I thought banana was funny, so I bought banana. And now,
very good investment.
Bananas being bored. That's hilarious.
Very good investment thesis. Yeah.
I remember after I bought the NFT, I was thinking, this is gonna be nuts. This is the new Cool Cats, 50 ETH floor, absolutely insane. And then I believe a month after they started selling, they only sold about 20%, so they just cut off supply. So, yeah, but I'm never selling that thing. I haven't sold an NFT yet.
Well, that's great. That's awesome, guys. Yeah, that was a. I should have expected like that kind of an answer. It's like there's just so much that you guys must be into. So yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely.
We're
incredible.
both collectors, but I can't say that I've ever sold. Levi,
I minted.
sold
I minted.
some.
I think the only couple NFTs I've sold, like one of them was a lonely alien, and I minted one, and I don't know. I wasn't feeling it, so I sold that one, and I sold a couple others that I wasn't really feeling. But for all the projects that I think have a solid foundation, I've held on to through the bear market.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Personally, it's like if you really believe in something, then you should just hold on to that. I really do believe that. It's like, well, you don't even necessarily have to have a rational answer for it. It's like, well, I just think that it's really cool and it's something that I want to be part of now and going forward as well. So I totally understand that. All right. So in terms of the end goal, the big vision for the Duhverse, what is it? Can you guys tell me?
The big hat thesis.
Uh-huh. Let's get to it.
So let me walk you through. I'll go through the roadmap after I talk a little bit about my feelings about the current market. So when we were in full bull mode, it was very hard to go out and do your own thing because it felt like to even stay relevant, you almost had to play the game, the hype game, right? Where you're trying to carry out like what is going to get attention, because it was very, very hype driven in the bull market. And now that we're in the bear and everything's sort of quiet, it's kind of given us time to kind of sit back and calm down and think about where we can create long-term value and longevity. So our roadmap isn't necessarily the longest term vision, but short term it reflects a lot of the values that I think are going to be important to us, and what the space will, I think the space will value going forward as well. Because I kind of need both those to kind of align. Otherwise, if one part of it isn't satisfied, then we probably wouldn't see a very good level of success. Let me walk through what I mean by that. So in our roadmap, the first thing is the pixel lambs. So the idea for that is I wanted to do a companion project like what other projects do, but I didn't want to do it exactly the same. I have a pretty sweet gamification twist in there that I'll be writing about shortly, but it involves like the game that's going to be played is basically sending a lamb to a portal and getting a pixel lamb back, right? So a problem with a lot of these companion projects is they use it as a way to try and keep their relevancy. So like they basically say, okay, you have our NFT, let's give you another free NFT. Okay, great. Well, that doesn't really do a whole lot. Well, with this game, you basically get to trade a lamb in for a pixel lamb, and we have ideas of how we can create incentive to play the game too. So I'll definitely be talking a little bit more about that later. I probably won't go too far into it for this discussion, but that's just something to keep in mind. The Academy is probably the biggest indicator of what I want to achieve with the project. So what a lot of projects do right now in this bear market, I've noticed, is in order to try and keep their relevancy, they will just look at what big projects are doing, copy it, and try to do the same thing and hope that they are able to, I keep saying it, stay relevant. I see all these projects just, well, we need a token now. We need to have passive yield. We need to do this now. So they're like building these ecosystems, and they're not putting any thought of it. They're just hoping that they're just slapping stuff together and hoping it works. In other words, they are leaning far too hard into their product, right? A lot of these teams are also anonymous. You don't know the team, and what's happened is they've become severely weighed on one side, the product side, where they're trying to bloat the value of their project by attempting to copy other projects attempting to copy other projects to inject that same copied value into their product. Whereas for us, I think the important thing right now in this bear is, yes, we're going to keep building our product. That's essential. But we also need to go hard on the team part of it, because you need both to foster a good community, I think. Some projects, there's like they're an exception, right? Like with Bored Apes, they got an anonymous team. Their product is awesome, obviously, but since they were first to do it, they don't necessarily need that part of the formula to succeed. for us, we want to foster value in the team. We want to get people to know us. We want to foster this environment where, and we've already come across this way, where we're down to earth, we're easy to talk to, and we want to set up like a weekly schedule of events where we're doing something every day for people to tune in and get to meet us and get to interact with us. And the idea there is, well, if they like us, or if they like their product, or both, we have multiple ways of encouraging people to want to join our community. We have value that is spread out. We are not subject to the ebbs and flows of the market like projects that are very product weighed. That's kind of my thesis. And so with the Academy, I think the biggest problem right now with NFTs and crypto, and the biggest thing that people want to see going forward, is mass adoption, right? Well, how do we get there? Because right now it's very overwhelming, a lot of this stuff. And I think what I want to foster most of all is an environment where we have like, okay, you're new to crypto, or maybe you just don't have the time to manage all this. Let's make a community where we can serve as a hub, as sort of a one-stop shop, where we have resources for like lists of everything where we can redirect people to. And we don't necessarily have to make all these resources, but we can curate stuff like a big part of it right now is making sure you're following the right people, right? And for people that have nothing to do with this space, they don't know anything. But with us, we've been around, we kind of know like who are good follows. And like, for example, we could create a curated list of like, these are good people that we recommend you follow. These are good projects that we recommend you look into. These are good resources that we recommend you use to learn about navigating the markets. Like how do you use these DeFi protocols? Like when do you buy? When do you sell? These are the resources you can use to build within these ecosystems. There's a ton to explore here. And like I already said this too, we don't necessarily have to build it all ourselves, but we can compile all this information in one place for people. And that's a big part of what the Academy is going to be, I think, on top of the stuff that we do create for these resources, which will include, our team is very talented and multifaceted, different areas of expertise. Me personally, I already have an idea for what I want to do for a developer sort of resource. I'm going to make like a project and call it Inshallah Does. It's not Greek, but it's got the duh theme to it. And that would be a tutorial project walking through someone from nothing to launching their own NFT project for the sole purpose of like helping somebody learn all these different areas of software development. It wouldn't necessarily be for because the intent there would not be to allow as many people as possible to pump out low quality NFT projects, but it's to give, and that's what the Academy is going to be all about, giving people the tools to do what they want to do with them. And it, unfortunately, if it is going to be like cash grabs, hopefully the market itself has matured enough to see past those. But that's my idea. And Trevor's got some ideas too for how he can contribute to the Academy. And we've got our hot dog lamb, the hot dog costume, the guy that reps that. He loves teaching people. He likes to give DeFi presentations, and we're going to be doing that like on a weekly, bi-weekly schedule where for each day of one day of the week, he'll be coming in on our server to talk about a certain aspect of DeFi. And like we've got artists that want to do art live streams. We've got a music guy that obviously loves music, that wants to create music live or put his music in the background and have sort of a Q&A session. Like we've got a lot of ideas for how we can execute this, or putting value on the team and create value that way as well. So I know that was kind of long-winded. If I wasn't clear about anything, or you wanted like me to elaborate on anything, let me know too. But that's kind of the vision.
I think that that's perfect. That's a great answer. It's very obvious that you've given this a tremendous amount of thought already, which is great. It's obviously just a lot to try and unpack, I suppose. And you know what's
funny is I just realized I only talked about half our roadmap.
Wow.
Because there's the Lambda's VX, so the voxel avatars, which I kind of touched on, and the Andromedas is the last part. But yeah, that kind of gives you a broad overview of what we're all about and what we want to move towards building going forward.
Wow, that's amazing. It sounds like you guys really do have, you have spent a tremendous amount of time actually looking at the market, reflecting about the current situation, where things could potentially go, what other projects are doing. So it's like, at least from the sounds of things, if I could put it this way, it sounds like the Duhverse is at the very least self-aware, which I think is very important, because I think a lot of projects, they kind of just, as you say, they're like, let's, we got to keep up, we got to do this and that and the next thing, and it's kind of like a mad rush to try and explore, offer a whole lot of utility right now, and it's all sort of malformed or half-formed, or it's kind of like it's a copy paste of something else, and we've already seen that before in the crypto space, in DeFi protocols and that kind of stuff. And I think for a lot of people who aren't aware of that kind of stuff, it's like development, good stuff takes time. That's just it's at the end of the day, these are lean teams, very talented people, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, it's like you do have to understand that these are human beings who can only do so much, and have to dedicate and have to prioritize what they need to do next, what is best for the community. And that obviously can be a conversation that you can have with your community, and you should involve them. But at the same time, just go, okay, we're going to offer this utility and that and this, and by next month we'll have an entire DeFi protocol and a running game in the metaverse, and you can import all of your NFTs, and you can have all that stuff. It sounds wonderful, and of course from a hype perspective and all that, it's like, wow, hyper bullish, but that's just not realistic. So I think people also have to, I think creators and artists have to adjust their expectations, and so to do their audiences, their communities, just so that they can stay grounded and understand, hey guys, don't look at this little tiny piece. Like, try and think of the bigger vision. Where are we going? How can we make that happen? And I think hearing that you guys want to involve people from your community in creating music, doing live art, talking about bringing in utility by leveraging your community. Isn't that what it's all about at the end of the day?
That is what it's all about, yeah.
Mm-hmm,
very well worded.
Thank you. I do have my uses. So. But yeah,
and see,
I think you guys are. Oh yeah.
I was just going to add this quick. Yeah, to reiterate, like a lot of NFT projects are kind of just, we need to do something fast. Let's just copy this and this and this, and let's take this roadmap that looks like it's going to good. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to name any names either, but I see a lot of projects that have the same exact roadmaps, the same exact stuff coming out. And when you have the same exact stuff coming out for 10 different more than that, for 50, for 100 different projects, like, oh, they got a token, oh, they got this different kind of merch, they got it's all the same. And so we need, at the end of the day, you don't want to be one of those like people that are constantly chasing. We want to be the group that's able to kind of go out on our own and innovate in our own way. And I think we have a pretty unique scenario here, because I would wager that 99.9% of these NFT project teams don't have the founder teams that we do, because Trevor and I are brothers. My roommates are also founders of this project, and our artist is a very good friend of ours. The team was not a group of people that met online to make this project. We're all friends in real life. We've all known each other for years. I've already said friends, but we're all building this together, so there's no like risk of fallout, because we're already past the hard part of the money part, right? We made it past the hard part, and we're here. We're still building, and we're happy to and passionate to keep building as well.
But that's exactly what it's about, to my mind. That's also why talking to you guys, it just makes me realize it's like this is great stuff, because we're talking about people who already know each other, who share interests, who have a passion for what they do, for each other, for their community. That's what I think is so important with NFT projects, is to see that personal commitment and that human aspect, and that like we really do care. We're not just, it's like, there's making money is great, and getting rewarded for our efforts is fantastic, but it doesn't have to be disproportionate or one-sided. It's like we do want to give back. We want to make this a long-term sustainable thing. Essentially, if you think about it in terms of crypto, it was created to resolve long-standing financial problems, economic problems. Mm-hmm. And essentially, if you think about it, NFTs and DeFi is the next logical step forward. That's what's actually happening right now. And now we're seeing communities, microeconomies emerging. That's actually what it is. How do we, and they're all trying to resolve the same problem fundamentally. How do we create a sustainable, peer-based or community-run economy that is self-sufficient? That's really what it is. So it's about that self-sufficiency, and I think just keeping that inertia and that momentum going, and just, again, keeping your expectations. It's great to aim high, but also it's like set your sights at a realistic level. And there's nothing wrong with that. Being foregrounded is very important to me. If I make an investment, I'm like, look, I don't necessarily like, like it's going to go exponential and that kind of stuff. That's gambling. Okay, lots of people are gambling right now, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to do what they want, and some people will win, and a lot of people very likely will lose. But if you're looking for something that actually has the capacity to generate long-term value, and when you hear this kind of stuff being talked about, it's like, wow, why would you not want to be part of this? So I think your guys' answers are fantastic.
Yeah, and just another kind of thing that we're all about, and you kind of sort of touched on this too. Another value that I particularly embody, I would say, is the under promise, over deliver narrative. I think a lot of people were actually kind of disappointed with our first roadmap because I didn't promise a whole lot. But we've already acted on basically all of it. We only got one more event we're going to do this month, and then after that, our first roadmap will be completed. Like, how many of these projects, promise these crazy over the top things like we're going to build a game. Okay, great. It's going to be years before you have a good game. And that's not, if you have that long of a time frame, I guess that's okay too. But a lot of these projects were only planned this out for a couple of months. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
I am very cognizant of what you're saying.
Yeah,
trust me.
And just to showcase our ability as a team to execute, like we've already shown that to that extent.
That's important, and that's very important. Is being able to deliver on what you promise.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's like, yes, okay, so we're not promising you the entire galaxy, and not even the world, but we are promising you stuff that we will definitely give you. It's like certainty. Just demonstrating your commitment to your community and creating that certainty and that trust is so important in the NFT project. And in projects, that's it. It's like you want to, for me, what's important is talking to and dealing with people who are transparent, credible, and good human beings. I mean, let's be honest here. That's what it comes down to. Are you a decent person? Do you actually care about, is it just, oh, me? Or is it like, oh, wait, there's other people in the world, and like we can actually, this can like help people? What? That's crazy. No, it's not crazy. It's not that crazy. And this is proof of that. And I think it's great because I think from that social aspect, just that sense of belonging is just so central to the human condition. And it's like, wow, like I actually am part of something that is meaningful. And like that's the thing that I find so amazing about NFT projects is that it's like I belong somewhere. I have a place in the community. I have an identity, albeit a digital one, and I inhabit that identity. And it's like people do want to hold on to their stuff. There's a sense of like this is my ticket. This is my it's a symbol of my commitment, of my belonging, and that's crazy. That's amazing. It's like, I think that attributing that kind of value, that intrinsic value, that sociological value, is just mind blowing. I think it's fantastic because a lot of people have, obviously with COVID and the lockdowns and everything, the sense of isolation of being stuck. It's absolutely revivified art. As who said it? Who said it to me? I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if one of you guys said it to me or someone else said it to me, but it's the idea of a digital renaissance. Was it you who said it to me?
I might have, but I got it from someone else. I won't take credit. I won't take credit for that one.
I was like, yeah, I just think that's kind of where we're at, this digital renaissance, as it were, and I just think that just blows my mind. So sorry for my ramble, but no,
because I agree with you, because I think that the most valuable part of what we're seeing right now isn't just the NFTs serve as a great way of being digital collectibles that can have utility if you bake it in there, right? But a lot of times those same collectibles, the more important purpose or utility of that is the membership token part of it, the access that you get to communities that you want to be a part of. And that's the name of the game right there. Like, to be an NFT project, the most important part is to create a community that people want to be a part of and have your tokens serve as like membership tokens to that what you've built.
Yeah, and I think also where, I think there's this whole idea with democracy that it's a great system, but democracy does work in finite ways and in smaller communities where there's a sense of alignment. And I think that this idea of participation and being able to direct content and be like, I don't know, I hate it when someone cancels my favorite show on TV and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is great. Like, what can I do to make this carry on? And it's like, now I don't have to have some big corporate centralized entity going, we're going to pull the plug on this one, and they smoke their cigar and that kind of stuff, and they like move on to the next cash grab. It's like, this is where communities have the potential to create something that is literally theirs. That's pretty profound.
It is. Like, we have, like you said, we have the power. We're cutting out the middleman, and like that I've kind of found peace in that fact too, because no matter what happens, we, Trevor and I and you, have the ability. Nobody's stopping us from growing, from building, from from doing what we're doing, and we keep doing it. Like, there's absolutely nothing that can stop us from doing this.
Well, there you go. That's it. It's like nothing's going to stop you. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter what happens. We're just going to keep doing it. That's what happens. You don't do something. If you just give up on something, it's like, well, did you really care about it in the first place? That's the question I have to ask. It's like, well, perseverance is key. It's like, not everything is always going to work out exactly as you want. It would be wonderful if the world was like that, but that's just not how the world works at all. But again, it's that persistence and that commitment and that passion. That's what separates great projects from mediocre ones any day of the week.
Mm-hmm. It's all about the game of, do you want to be the project of the week
or do you want
the team of the year?
Hey, I like that. The Beef Jensen quote of the day. Look at that.
Beef Jensen,
I've been cooking that one for the past 10 minutes.
He's just been
just there's the dots on the Microsoft startup thing.
Letting it cook.
Like, I got one for you.
I was just buffering, waiting for my moment.
We'll use that for the intro and the outro. So we'll make it
double.
Yes.
That's the way.
Dub first.
We should be. Wait, hold on. Let's do that. Let's see if we can synchronize it. 1, 2, 3.
Duhverse. That was okay.
See, I suppose it's more monkey, but
we're just gonna have. It devolved into that, but that's all right. So
whatever.
we'll just have that. We'll just have that at the intro.
We'll have the editor fix it.
You got to
right?
be a bit crazy to get.
Reese is gonna be like,
what
are these guys doing? He's Scottish.
Oh, he's gonna.
Oh my God! What has Brent done? He talks just like Shrek. I'm saying this to you because of what you said to me earlier about being old, Reese. Okay. Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Let's settle down. Let's put on our serious hats now.
Serious hats.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. Do you have your serious hat? That's your serious hat?
I suppose I better put on a hat. I can't tell you if it's serious per se, but.
Very serious hat. I should have had this on.
I'm just going to go out on a limb here and just say it's not. Not after what I saw. What's written on it. So it's you can't be like, take my hat seriously. I need you to do this for me.
I'll just take the back burner with this one and just,
we'll just put a censored black rectangle over your head and they'll be like, what is going on? The video feed, it was Dakota, the weather it's crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, let's start wrapping up this beautiful interview. So I think in terms of NFTs and their ability and where they're going, Where would you like to see NFTs being used in the future, guys? What do you foresee? Look at your crystal ball and give me an idea.
Oh yeah, let me just whip it out real quick, and I'll tell you where we're going.
Well, you are big
You're wearing
hat.
a
Let's see
wizard's
it.
hat, and you're going to tell me that you don't have a crystal ball. You know what?
I'll just
That's par for course, man.
You know, I was gonna say this earlier. Like Trevor said, he made his hat and everything, and that's cool and all. But I basically summoned this. I conjured this, so I can conjure a crystal
Generated
ball
it
too.
randomly,
Yes.
programmatically.
Yeah, I made the generator. I can do that, man. I can make that.
I believe you.
So for NFT use cases in the future, I think the metaverse is going to be pretty big. It's going to be like, like the Ready Player One sort of idea. It'll probably be a while before we get there, but I think eventually that'll be one of the biggest use cases of NFTs, like being able to use them, because digital ownership is very powerful, and it will be doubly so when our world is also more closely entwined with digital stuff.
Stuff.
As far as like the shorter term, I think we're going to see NFTs start to be adopted more and be used for what they're already kind of known for. Like for example, like I mentioned membership tokens. We'll probably see a lot more of that going forward. I could see it also, as like temporary, for like events. Like you can use these tokens for like access tokens to like events. Like for example, concerts. Like tickets could become NFTs, for an example. Like anything, you can literally tokenize most things in ways that aren't maybe immediately apparent, but now that we're here and you've seen kind of what we're capable of, I think we're going to see what we already know, and it's going to be like Legos. Like we're just going to keep, okay, we know we can do this with NFTs. What if we try it digital tokenization with this area instead, and boom, it just works, the Todd Howard quote.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think but that's the idea. It's like, can we reinvent? Can we look at the world in a new way and go, how does this stuff have value? It does have. There is more to value than just money. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. It's like there's more to it than that. It's like we've been on this paradigm for such a long time with the legacy finance system that it's like everything's money, 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 and that's been disastrous. It's clear. If you look at like national debts and that kind of stuff, it's a joke. So it's like, how do we resolve these problems and that kind of stuff? By actually expanding our definition of what value is to something that's more inclusive, and that's something that's more holistic, and something that is actually more human and brings back that aspect. And I think that's NFTs have the potential to do that in an amazing and far-reaching way.
Yeah, and I think that's what the Web3 revolution is going to look like first. It's going to be us tokenizing everything and hiding things of value behind access tokens. And just like you said, like you think about people right now, how much money they spend to get into country clubs, or golf. Yeah. I don't know what they're called. Golf, like country clubs. Well,
golf clubs?
Something like that.
Yeah. I'm not a part of one, obviously. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Club.
And then we got people in the NFT space doing the exact same thing. They'll pay thousands of dollars to get their monkey JPEGs so they can see Wall Street Kongs. You know what I mean? Like see that trading alpha, and that's just one use case of a membership, one good use case of a membership token that I've seen that we'll continue to see going forward.
Amazing. I totally agree with you. We're definitely going to keep seeing that, and I think it's just the cool thing is still at the start. This is still the beginning, and I think where we're going is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see how this space evolves. I really can't. So I think, guys, thank you for talking to me today. I feel enlightened, and I feel my dopamine levels and serotonin, even my serotonin's up. And
even the serotonin.
Ooh, even the serotonin.
Better go. You amped
don't
up.
Ask me why we can't be in there.
Amped
Sorry?
up. Got to go hit the gym now.
Yeah, that talk with Levi and Trevor just be right in those areas. You got to work those spice.
Get me inspired.
The new all-time highs.
I just feel so pumped for NFTs. Anyway, so getting back to the matter at hand. To close off, is there anything else you guys would like to share with the cryptoverse and fans of NFTs before we bid farewell?
I think
Just be like, nah.
Yeah. See ya.
You got enough out of us, yeah. I feel like I've said just about everything I want to say. Trevor, you got anything for the peeps?
I suppose to add on to that last question of where I see it going, long term, I completely agree with the vision of we're gonna end up tokenizing a lot of things as people start to realize the utility of this tech. It's this digital, totally programmatically, yes, way of proving ownership, of proving you own something instead of this trust-based sort of, yeah, no, I own this Tesla at home and you should believe me. I live in this mansion. I have zero debt. Well, now you can go ahead and see for yourself, oh, this person put his money where the mouth is, but
Yeah.
it's this perfect way of removing trust. And I think that's,
removing the need for trust. Yeah.
Yeah. Need for trust, I should say. Trust is still an important thing, but
Yes, it is.
yeah. As for short term, Levi spoke more on the gating membership, key lock sort of utility aspect. I definitely agree with that, and I can see a short term future of projection as well. So something along the lines of, you buy this NFT, and this is your, for lack of a better word, persona, as sorts. It's this avatar. This is you. This is your online sort of identity. This is the placeholder for who you are. That's the whole idea for PFPs in the first place. It's these people that don't want to put their personnel or their identity out there, so they put this placeholder there for, number one, safety, number two, they just feel better.
Well, they're building like their online individual brand, using like one avatar as your brand is very important. And we've seen that too with like people that use their punks. They change their name to their punk, number, and they use that as their profile picture, and their entire brand is about their punk, which, that's cool too. And like no one else can own that punk, it's theirs, it's them. So yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, but I can see a lot more in the direction of like VTubers, where they use that picture to represent who they are, and I can see that kind of direction being used for NFTs as well.
VTubers in the metaverse, yeah,
yep.
Yeah, because
it's coming.
It's
definitely coming.
You could literally do that. You could make, we could do that. We could make like 2D, 3D rigs of our Andromedas for like VTuber.
I'm just gonna write this
Already
down.
looked into it.
Steal our idea, run with it.
I think the next big step is the Zoom.
What's that?
I think the next big step for NFTs, or another big step for NFTs in a direction, would definitely be Zoom integration. Something like, you already see people that they don't want to disclose their backgrounds, so they use these virtual backgrounds that are generated from Zoom. And I think the next big step is, what if we totally change what you look like? There's that, of course, that creates a disconnect of viewer and these two people talking, but you still maintain some identity. You maintain the safety of having no data breach, you don't have your identity leaked that way. But I think that still creates that nice, that still leaves that bond between two people just having a discussion.
Yeah,
if that made any sense at all.
It made perfect sense. Don't worry, I get you totally. It makes.
Thank you.
It is the piece de resistance in this entire chat. So yeah, I just think that the applications are just it's going to be pretty wild where we go. And I think, again, if you can dream it and you can find a way to do it, it can happen. It can 100% happen. So yeah. Okay, guys, I just want to thank you again for joining me today here on MarketSquare, guys. If you haven't checked out the Duhverse yet, follow them on Twitter, look for them online. You'll find their website, join their Discord. This is a legitimate project with, as you can see, two of the finest individuals I have ever had the benefit and the privilege of meeting. Levi and Trevor, or Mr. Big Hat, and Beef Jensen. And unfortunately,
That's beef
Rox
to
couldn't
you.
join us today, but tip of the hat to her and the rest of the team as well. Thank you, guys. Thank you to the Duhverse. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, this has been fantastic.
Thank you all
Great
for
time.
watching. And thanks for having us, Bryn.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.